I'm Ankur Patil, member of Club of Programmers IITBHU, and in this tutorial, we are going to show you how to enable user authentication in the local library website. At the end of this tutorial, we will be able to create your own login and logout pages, add permissions to your models, and you can basically control access to the pages. And we will all do this by using user authentication and permissions. So make sure to watch this video at the end, and there is a minor prerequisite we require, so you should follow all the previous tutorials in order to continue with this one, because this tutorial is related to the all the previous ones. And yeah, the latest one was sessions framework, so make sure to watch that, and this tutorial is built upon that code base. So yeah, make sure to watch all the videos, and yeah, let's start. Okay, so our first step would be to enable the authentication. As we know, we are doing user authentication and permissions. So the first step would be to add the authentication to our app. And you might have noticed that we have already enabled our authentication manually uh, when we created the skeleton of the website in tutorial 2. Uh, if you don't remember it, I will show you. Uh, just in the settings.py, in the installed apps, we have added django.contrib.auth. Basically, this is the core authentication framework of Django, and it is it is required in order to perform authentication actions. Okay. Um, the next one is Django contrib.content types, which is basically Django content type system, which allows the permissions to be associated with the models. You might have seen the decorators like at the permission, login required or something like that. These are all the permissions that we have, and Django.contrib.content types is basically behind all the scene. Okay. Then and the middleware we installed was Django.contrib.sessions.middleware.session middleware, which manages all the sessions across the request. And another one was authentication middleware. This authenticates user with this associates user with the requests using the sessions, like maybe it's post request, get request, or put patch delete, basically all the CRUD operations. Okay, so the first step, you haven't realized it, but we have already completed the first step in the tutorial too. Okay, so yeah, now what we need to do is we need to create a normal user. We have already created a super user, and we have created it by python manage.by create super user command. Uh, the only problem is that super user is already authenticated, and we have all the permissions. So we need a normal user so that we can limit access to the user, right? If you're a super user, you can't limit an access to the super user because you're the admin itself. Okay, so we are going to create a normal user, and first of all, we need to create a group for it. And why we are creating a group because we can't change the permissions of each and every user, right? So we create a group and we add permissions to group, and we remove all the users to that group, and eventually the permissions get implied to all the users. So let's start it. I will show you how to add it. Okay, yeah. So let's go to our admin panel. Okay, so let's say if I add users, first of all I need to add a group. Okay, so if I add a group, let's say I name the group local library. Okay, and if I just save it, basically local library members is basically a group which will include all the normal users. So the step would be to just create the group. Okay, library members. Okay, just save it. I have already created a group, so basically these are two same groups. In order to avoid a confusion, I'll delete one group. Okay, I have a library members group, and users, I have already created a test user, which is basically a normal user and nothing else. And the password over here is one. Let's say I create a new one more test user, test two, something like that, and password. I'll set some password. Okay, I'll just save it, and we have this user. Okay, so the next step would be to make this new user a a normal user, right? To add this user to the group. So let's say this user, I want to make this user a part of library members group. So basically, I will click this arrow, and yeah, this user will be the part of library members group. That's it. So yeah, we have created a normal user, and test user and test two user are library members, and all the permissions that apply to library members group apply to all the users, which are test user and test two. Okay, so yeah, we have created basically created all the normal users. Now let's move back to the code. Okay, so the first step would be to make our user authenticate. That is basically login. So we will need views for that. Basically, URL maybe something like slash account slash login. So for this, let's go to local library URLs, right? Py of local library, and over here I will add one more URL, and that would be account slash include django.contrib.auth.urls. Now, what this does is it includes all the URLs which are associated with authentication. Maybe it's log on, login, log out, password reset, password confirm, password change, and all that stuff. So I'll show you the URLs. Okay, so let's say if I go to slash accounts slash r, yeah. So these are the URLs that are associated with django.contrib.urls, which is login, logout, password change, password resets. And this is basically pretty easy as that we don't need to add all the URLs. So basically this is the this is basically a complete combo of all the authentication URLs. So yeah, this is the really great thing of Django. And let's say if I go to slash login, and yeah, so this is an obvious error we might encounter because we haven't yet added in a template. We need a template. Like we are telling Django that go to the URL, but Django is like, hey, you said me to go to the URL, but you haven't provided me any template. So please provide me a template. Yeah. So for this, we need to make a template, login template. And for this, what we are going to do is, first of all, uh, we need to make the template directly visible to the template loader. That is, let's say if I go to slash login, so Django first of all needs to search the login template. And in order to do that, we need to make minor settings in templates dirs. So over here, since it is dir system templates, we need to change it to os.path.join base dir. So yeah, we have done with it. We have joined it and we have enabled app.dir equals to. So now this what is it does it makes the templates directly visible to the template loader since we need it in order to render the template. Okay. Now the next step would be to create a login.html file, and the directory of it would be in the templates directory, we'll create a folder, namely registration folder. Okay, so in registration folder, we will add a login.html file. And for this, I will basically extend our base, which is our basic Jinja format. Base generic.html. So let's add the login form. For this, I'm using the basic Django login form that we have. You can find it on Django website. And yeah, also we are going to provide the GitHub repos, so you can find it over there as well. Okay, so this is basically this form checks if there are any form errors, and it takes basically the value when we submit it. And yeah, so this is the basic Django form, which has a form field as username and password. So let's try it out. If we go to slash login again, yeah, we have this form. Okay, so for now I'm going to remove the password reset thing, because I'm not going to implement the password reset thing. For that, we might need SMTP server and all that stuff, and we are not going to cover it in this video. So yeah, for the time being, let's forget that we have any password reset. We have a login page and logout page. Okay, so now we go to logout page. So first of all, let's try it out. Let's try out the login page, right? Uh, let's try registering a user. Uh, let's say I have a user and a login. Yeah. So what it does is, after logging in, Django automatically redirects a user to slash profile. Okay, and we don't want that. So for that, we need uh, to specify login redirect URL. Okay, and we can do it in settings.py. Okay, this is basically just a one word line, one line code, which is login redirect URL equals slash. Okay, this is basically home directory. So if I do it again, if I log in again, let's if I log in with an admin user, and yeah, so we are at the home page. Yeah, so this is necessary as you don't have any profile page, and if you want to redirect any URL after a login, so you just go to the settings.py and do login redirect URL. Okay, cool. Now we also might also need a logout page as well, right? So logout.html, and the logout page should be basically extending the base as usual. And yeah, oh, I made a type file name error over here. It should be logged out underscore logged underscore out. So that is the default name we need, and not logout. Okay, good. So, and over here I will write this text, uh, basically a block content. And this block will contain a basic text like thanks logged out. and it will contain the link which will say if you want to log in again, go to uh, login login page. So it will be login and percentage. Click here to login again, and we'll end the block. Yeah, so let's check out our logout page. Okay, so over here, and if I go to slash accounts slash logout, uh, oh, there is an error in the code which end block. Oh, it should be URL. My bad. Okay, now it will work. Let's try it out again. Yeah, cool. So we have successfully logged out, and if you want to log in again, click here to log in again. Yeah, cool. So yeah, they are done with login logout. So we have done with basic authentication. Now the next part comes is we can dynamically render our templates. What do you mean by that is if the user is logged in, we will show him a specific content, and if he is not logged in, we won't show him the specific content. And this is the fun part over here. So we have a sidebar in our home page, okay, and we are going to update it, okay, over here sidebar. If the user is logged in, we are going to basically display all a logout logout link over here, and if the user is logged out, we will display a login link over here. Okay, so it is basically in local library, catalog over here in templates, and in base generic HTML we have a sidebar over here. Yeah, so in sidebar we need to add if a condition, that is if user is authenticated. If user is authenticated, then it will show a login link, and else it will show a logout link. Okay, and I'll change it to login. Click login and this logout. Cool. So we are done with it. Oh, sorry. If user is authenticated, we should present him a logout link, because if user is authenticated, why will we provide a login link again? So yeah, it was my bad. It should be vice versa. Okay. So if we check our sidebar now, mm, oh, I didn't end the if. I should also end if. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's check it out. Yeah, cool. So user is logged out currently, and if I log in, yeah. So user is logged in, and we have a logout page over here, a logout link over here, and if I log out, and if I go to home, I will see a login link. Cool. Yeah. So we have added a dynamically render template, and over here, user is authenticated. User dot is authenticated does all the magic. Basically, it checks whether user is authenticated or not. Okay. Yeah. So at the end, we have done all we have implemented the basic authentication, and we have also rendered our template dynamically, and we are able to like control or limit the access of the user to particular pages. And yeah, so basically at the end of this tutorial, we are successfully managed to implement user authentication and permissions. So thank you for watching the videos, guys, and make sure you check out all the playlist. Uh, it is really cool. It is a really cool project, and you will learn a lot.